The Bama Spring Game is in the books. The voice of college football breaking down the tide. We do so with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. We would invite you to head on over to touchdownalabama.com. Also, right here on YouTube, in my own words, Stephen's show that airs live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Stephen, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Mark. Fresh off the spring game, final practice of the spring semester for Alabama, and it was a very evenly contested 8-day game.
Stephen, if we would go back years, we would see spring games across the nation as more like real football games. But coaches across the nation have pared back the physicality, the approach to being less like a actual football game, and based on the health of the players, with the first and foremost being their thought process. Even at places like Ohio State, they didn't really tackle at all yesterday in Columbus. Alabama, though, plays one of the more competitive spring games and continues to under Nick Saban. That's obviously something that he believes in.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of tackling in the Crimson Tide spring game. Now, of course, the quarterback is that's the position that's not live.
Sure.
You can touch the quarterback down, but as far as every other position, there's some pants popping, there's some hitting. And of course, Coach Saban in that pink suit has got to recognize where he is, because you can't afford him getting ran over.
Now, we notice, fortunately, from the broadcast, it's great to get that interaction with Coach Saban throughout the game, and to get his insight into what he's looking at, what he sees that he likes, what he doesn't. He was always, I will tell you, Stephen, I don't know if you've had a chance to go back. You were there live at the game, to go back to the broadcast, but he was very pleased, at least based on his comments, with Bryce Young's performance when there were a few mistakes, like there in the, I believe it was late in the first half, with a fumble that was knocked out of his hands for a touchdown, quick to defend Bryce Young's play there, that it wasn't his fault, that it was the offensive line. He just seemed very pleased with Bryce Young, and I certainly saw the athleticism on display. He threw some passes where he was off platform, threw it accurately, threw it across his body, made the throws, and he looks very smooth.
This was a spring game, Mark, where you wanted to see Bryce Young check off all the boxes that you had for him coming into the event, and he did that. I can mention he made throws off platform. He stepped up in the pocket and made throws. He was able to go through progressions despite the fact that he had pressure in his face at times. There was a play where he was able to extend and juke Byron Young out of his shoes to find Roydell Williams on a 47-yard wheel route. He hooked up with Cameron the 2 for a 59-yard touchdown. There was a lot of chemistry between Young and his roommate, Trayshawn Holden. Holden had 8 catches for 89 yards. Slade Bolden got involved in the action. He had 5 to 6 catches. Jamil Billingsley had 3 to 4 receptions. So all of the box that you had for Bryce Young coming in, can he make all the throws? Can he make them consistently? Can he be accurate? Can he have a variety of throws, whether they're fireballs or him putting touch on the ball? All the boxes you had for him coming in, he checked off. And it was a very calming feeling for Coach Saban, for Bill O'Brien, and for the near 50,000 fans in attendance watching this young man go for over 300 yards passing.
Now, Stephen, you set us up for the play of Roydell Williams. And Saban mentioned him a few times when addressing the running back room. And as you had mentioned to us last week, being very pleased, not just in particular to this game, but the entirety of the spring, how he has stepped up and made himself a factor in the running back category.
Absolutely. And here's a guy that from Hueytown High School in the Birmingham area, he has a gear to him. And I remember when Williams signed his national letter of intent to come to Alabama in the 2020 class, he looked dead in front of the camera and he told reporters the 2019 season will be the last time Alabama will ever miss the college football playoff because I'm coming to play for the Tide. And we saw last season where he got some opportunities, not a whole bunch, but This spring, he has made it a mission to let the coaching staff know, hey, I'm here. You can't afford to lose me because I'm a big deal. And he showed it in the second scrimmage, over 100 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And despite the fact that he probably didn't rush for a lot of yards in the 8-day game, he showed the versatility out of the backfield. 4 catches for 65 yards. He had over 100 yards from scrimmage, 108 to be exact. So he showed not only can he run the ball with power, he's got some speed, but he's also got the ability to catch the ball out the backfield, and he's going full speed to where he causes defensive backs to lose sight of where he is at times on the field. So a little bit of versatility from Roydell Williams in the spring game.
2 years ago, it was Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. Last year, it was Devontae Smith, of course, first and foremost, along with Jalen Waddle before he was injured, and John Mechie, of course, one of the most explosive receivers in college football. People around college football just can't believe that those kind of weapons can be replaced. How do you feel about the wide receiver core? And again, based on what you saw yesterday, along with the rest of spring practice.
Well, Mark, it's going to be tough to replace guys like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. But Alabama's got some young guys that will try, that will definitely try. And one of those young guys is Ajay Hall, number 17 at 6'3", out of Florida, the 5-star. This guy, Mark, has some Julio Jones in his game. There's a lot of Julio when you watch Ajay Hall on the field. Coach Saban talked about it. Explosive, freakish athlete, incredible talent, a guy that you got to move him around all over the field. You got to get him the football. The balance, the body control, the ability to make contested catches, and he is faster than what a lot of recruiting sites gave him credit for. He had a catch where he caught the ball on what was a little drag route to the middle of the field. He put his cleat in the ground, started to accelerate, stiff-armed a defensive back, and I was like, who is this? Is this Ajay Hall or is this Julio Jones? It was very Julio-esque, the play that he made. He caught the attention of fans almost immediately. 4 receptions for 72 yards, and then Trayshawn Holden, the roommate of one Bryce Young, had 8 catches for 89 yards. Should have had a touchdown in the game. He caught a pass over Quez Robinson, and Holden's leg hit the inside of the pylon. Of course, it did not go for a touchdown, but very, very close to could have been called for a score there for one Trayshawn Holden. So Holden, Hall, and also Value Jones-Bell, number 14 in his second year out of Florida. He had 3 catches for 52 yards. So you've got some young guys, Mark, that starting to kind of chirp a little bit here.
Nice. Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama, joining us to break down the A-Day game in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, and now off to the true off-season. Individual workouts will be continuing and in full force there in June as we head toward August. Stephen, as you size up the trenches, could you get a real good feel for who was winning those battles, both as units and individually?
Well, when you look at it, Mark, the defense at both sides, the first team and second team defense, had a little bit of a field day with the offensive line, and quite naturally, the second team offensive line that's got to get some chemistry with each other, some continuity with each other, and some familiarity with each other. That second team offensive line, you had Seth McLaughlin at center, you had Tommy Blockemeyer as an offensive tackle, you had Tanner Bowles out there, you had a whole bunch of young guys that have not played a lot of football and have not played much at all together. And you kind of saw how Paul Tyson, who was the quarterback of that group, was running for his life every time he touched the ball due to the offensive line not able to neutralize the experienced players there on the defense, whether it was Tim Smith or Stephon Wynn or Jamarian Latham or other guys just coming around the bend or coming up the middle, applying pressure to one. Paul Tyson, and even the first team offensive line, where you had a little bit more experience, like Evan Neal, Chris Owens, and Kendall Randolph. There were a few moments where defensive players from the first team defense, whether it was Chris Braswell or Deontay Lawson, just different guys, even getting a chance to get in that backfield and affect Bryce Young a little bit there. And I've mentioned this before, when you lose guys like Landon Dickerson, Alex Leatherwood, and Deontay Brown, that hurts. And you got to find guys that are willing and set to fill in those shoes and take on those roles, to have that type of continuity playing with each other. Now, I feel like ultimately, when it gets down into fall camp and the 2021 football season, Alabama will have 4 starting offensive linemen ready to go, and the 5th guy will be kind of a swing man. And that swing man, he'll get better and better as the season progresses, but right now, just in the spring, the offensive line, both the first and the second team group, got to develop a bit more continuity with each other. As you could tell, Mark, that defense had its way with both offensive lines.
Folks, please like the video, share the videos on social media. You enjoying the content right here. Others will as well. So please share the videos on social media. Head on over to Stephen A. Smith's Touchdown Alabama channel right here on YouTube to catch his live show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And Stephen, you partially answered my question already concerning the defense because you addressed the line play. We talked about the opportunity for this defense to be dominant once again for Alabama in 2021. Saban wasn't too pleased with the blown coverage that resulted in the tight end getting loose there in the first half. But other than that, and a few other, understandable breakdowns and, working out the rust and shaking the rust there in spring, was it the dominant defense that, again, that you're expecting that we could possibly see this fall?
Oh, no doubt about it. And what was intriguing here, Mark, is for the first team defense, which was Team Crimson out there, you had no Will Anderson. He didn't play.
That's right.
Christian Harris did not play. Malachi Moore did not play. But it did not affect the room at all. Jalen Moody had a tremendous game at the middle linebacker position. Weak side linebacker, you had Deontay Lawson, the freshman from Mobile. He is going to be a stud. Had a phenomenal performance, 4 tackles, 2 pass breakups, a tackle for loss, and should have had 2 interceptions off of Bryce Young. Just could not clean the hold on the ball there. But Jalen Moody, Deontay Lawson both played well. In the secondary, DeMarco Helms led the team with 12 tackles in the game. Jordan Battle played well as the other safety. Jalen Armour Davis stepped up at one of the 2 corner spots. He had 3 pass breakups. Josh Jones did a nice job there as well. Chris Braswell, who filled in for Will Anderson, had 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, a forced fumble that Jalen Moody recovered for a touchdown. So the first team defense really did some big things without some of its main guys. And even once again, the second team defense, Jaquincy Kool-Aid McKinstry, the 5-star freshman, had a pick in the game. Christian Story had an interception. Jamarian Latham on the defensive line had 4 tackles. He was the Dwight Stevenson lineman of the 8A game. Also, Stephon Wynn had a sack. I mentioned that right there. Tim Smith was unblockable in the game. He had 3 tackles to his own credit. DeMoy Kennedy, one of the linebackers, he had 7 tackles and a sack of the second team defense. So you had a bunch of just young guys, Mark, flying around the field. We know what the experienced playmakers can do. We've seen those guys. But to see so many young guys hungry, getting to the ball, making plays, creating turnovers, that's what really impressed me and excited me is the depth of this defense for Alabama. It's scary. It's good. These guys are ready to play.
Stephen, there's 2 other things I'd like to hit on. One would be you mentioned Harrison Anderson sitting out on defense. There was a list of players, and that's not uncommon across the country, guys sitting out just for precautionary reasons. Should we be concerned about any of the players that weren't able to play in this game and that being impactful toward August?
Oh no, I mean no. There were some guys that the coaching staff wanted to hold out of the 8A game. I mean, Will Anderson dominated the entire spring. I mean, dominated both scrimmages, dominated the entire spring. So decided to hold him out. Christian Harris had an incredible spring. Just wanted to hold him out. Malachi Moore, who actually is getting over a stress fracture in his back, but he'll be fine. He'll be good to go by summer workouts, fall camp, and things of that nature. So nothing to be overly concerned about. It's just, if you're an Alabama fan out there and you're watching these young guys have the opportunity to go out there defensively and put on a show, you're wondering how many of these young guys are going to see the field. Like, how many of these young guys are going to get really legit playing time, because they showed the coaching staff, hey, you know, we deserve some playing time here. So it was just a good moment to see a lot of fresh faces on the field handle business out there.
Okay, everybody's healthy long term. That's great. You know, Stephen, you did a great job of setting us up a few weeks ago with a profile on Paul Tyson at quarterback. Wanted to, before we let you go, didn't want to let you get away without assessing how the other quarterbacks looked.
Now, Paul, taking into account what he had to deal with, I thought he played good. I mean, once again, he's working with a patchwork offensive line, the second team guys that they got to get some chemistry, you know, with each other. But during the moments where Tyson was protected, you saw the arm ability. He was hitting on plays to Ajah Hall and Bayou Jones-Bell and Chase McClellan. He had a drive where he got into a serious rhythm, and the drive capped off on a 48-yard field goal by Chase Allen to tie the game at 10. So there was a moment in that game where Paul got into rhythm. He also suffered from receivers dropping passes. Xavier Williams had two passes that hit him dead in his hands, just couldn't hold on to him, dropped them. Chase McClellan had one that hit him dead in his hands, and if he could have called it and kept running, he probably would have scored. He dropped the pass. There was one where Tyson hit Ajah Hall for a 30-yard bomb. That play got called back due to a false start. And then he hit Chase McClellan out the backfield, which ended up being a 30-yard play. That got called back due to a block in the back. So, I mean, Tyson had big plays that were negated due to penalties on the field. He suffered from having balls dropped, young offensive line he's working with. So he had a lot of things sort of stacked against him. But when he had the opportunity to have a clean pocket and guys holding on to the football, you saw the arm ability. You saw the ability to manage the situation, to put the ball in the right spots in the field. He's got a lot of talent now, Mark. He's got a ton of talent, just continuing to work his way through there a bit. But just assessing it in context, I thought Tyson played pretty good.
Most importantly, Stephen, did they treat you right there in the press box?
The sun baked my face, Mark. I got baked by the sun.
Oh, boy.
They put me in the middle of the sun. So that was unfriendly right there. The cuisine was good.
Okay.
Food was great.
What was featured there? What was your favorite?
So my favorite one was, I don't know who had the baked chicken, but whoever made the baked chicken, they put that to perfection. Baked chicken was nice. Baked chicken was good. Mashed potatoes were good. They seasoned some really nice green beans over there. So that was fantastic. And then they had the assortment of candy, to which I go, you know what? This is fantastic. The assortment of candy, it ranged from different flavors of Starburst to different bags of Skittles to had the Twizzlers over there, had the assortment of Twix and Snickers and Three Musketeers. So the Candy Fairy was good. Candy Fairy was fantastic. But yes, Mark, they put me in the middle of the sun. So I had to deal with trying to battle heat, but I was okay.
Okay, Stephen. Good to know that you're in good shape, got your belly full, despite the sun glaring in your eyes for most of the day. We're able to give us a great report on Alabama football. Stephen, we always appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And again, we want to direct everybody right here on YouTube to Steven's show on Touchdown Alabama. The show is, in my own words, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Steven, it's always a pleasure, sir. You have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. You too, Mark. Take care.